June 5, 1944, the night before D-Day. Churchill's war room was packed with his top generals. One general predicted complete disaster within hours. Another saw victory, but through unimaginable sacrifice. The third general said something that made Churchill go silent. What he revealed would change everything they thought about the invasion. His words were so shocking that some generals refused to believe him. But by morning, they'd all understand why he was right. The meeting room, June 5, 1944. Late evening, Winston Churchill sat in his underground war room, his generals surrounding the long oak table. Maps covered every inch of the walls. Tomorrow would be D-Day, the biggest invasion in human history. Over 150,000 men would storm the beaches of Normandy, but tonight, doubt filled the room. Churchill looked at his three most trusted generals. He asked them one simple question: what do you truly think will happen tomorrow? The first general's warning. The first general stood up slowly. His face was pale. What he said next made everyone freeze. He predicted disaster, complete and total disaster. Within the first 6 hours, he believed thousands would die. The invasion could fail before noon. Churchill's cigar stopped halfway to his mouth. The room went silent. But this was just the first prediction. What would the second general say? The pessimist's warning. General Allenbrook was Churchill's chief of staff. He'd seen war up close for decades. His hand shook slightly as he spoke. "Prime Minister, the weather is terrible," he began. "The waves are too high. Our landing craft will capsize." He pointed to the weather reports on the table: rain, wind, rough seas. "The Germans have 50,000 troops waiting on those beaches." Brooke continued. His voice was steady but grim. "They have machine guns in concrete bunkers. They have artillery on the cliffs." Churchill listened without interrupting. Brooke laid out the math, simple and brutal. "We'll lose 10,000 men in the first wave, maybe more. The bodies will wash up on the shore before we even reach the sand." Other generals shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Some nodded in agreement. The odds looked impossible. "If we fail tomorrow," Brooke said quietly, "we cannot try again. Not for years, maybe never." But the second general had a different view entirely. Could victory still be possible? The optimist's price. General Montgomery stood next. Everyone called him Monty. He was confident. Some said too confident. "Gentlemen, we will win," Monty declared. His voice was clear and strong. "By midnight tomorrow, we will control those beaches." Churchill leaned forward. Finally, some hope. But Monty wasn't finished. "However, the cost will be enormous." He pulled out his own calculations, numbers written in neat rows. "We will lose between 8,000 and 12,000 men on the first day alone." The room stayed quiet. By the end of the first week, 30,000 casualties, dead, wounded, or missing. Monty looked around the table. "But we will break through. The German defenses will crack. We will liberate France." Churchill asked the obvious question: "Is that price acceptable?" Monty didn't hesitate. "It's the only way, sir. There is no other path to victory." Two generals had spoken. Two completely different predictions. But the third general hadn't said a word yet. What did he know that the others didn't? The silent observer. General Dwight Eisenhower sat at the far end of the table. He was an American, supreme commander of all Allied forces. Everyone waited for him to speak, but Eisenhower just stared at the maps. Minutes passed. The silence became uncomfortable. Churchill finally asked, "General Eisenhower, what is your assessment?" Eisenhower looked up slowly. His eyes were tired. He'd barely slept in weeks. "Prime Minister, both generals are wrong." The room erupted. Voices rose in protest. "Wrong? How could they both be wrong?" Eisenhower raised his hand for silence. "Let me explain." He stood and walked to the largest map on the wall. His finger traced the coastline of Normandy. "This invasion won't be decided by the beaches.
It won't be decided by the weather. It won't even be decided by how many men we lose in the first 6 hours. Everyone leaned closer. What was he talking about? This invasion will be decided by something else entirely, something we cannot control, something the Germans don't even know about yet. The hidden factor. Eisenhower turned to face the room. His expression was serious, almost grim. Gentlemen, D-Day will succeed or fail based on one thing: Hitler's decision. Confused looks spread across the table. Hitler's decision? What decision? Eisenhower explained. Right now, Hitler has massive tank divisions waiting inland, panzer divisions, the best armored units in the German army. He pointed to spots on the map far from the beaches. If Hitler sends those tanks to the coast in the first 12 hours, we lose. It's that simple. Our men will be trapped on the beaches. They'll be slaughtered.
Churchill's face turned red. Then why are we even attempting this? Eisenhower smiled for the first time all night. Because Hitler won't send them, sir. The room exploded with questions. How could Eisenhower possibly know that? How could he be so sure? Because we've been lying to Hitler for months, and he's believed every word. This changed everything. What lie had they told Hitler? Operation Fortitude. Eisenhower explained the greatest deception in military history. It was called Operation Fortitude. For 6 months, we've convinced Hitler that the real invasion will happen at Calais, not Normandy. He showed them fake radio transmissions, false intelligence reports, made-up army divisions. We created an entire phantom army in southeast England. General Patton is supposedly commanding it. Hitler believes we have 1 million men ready to invade at Calais. Some generals had heard rumors about this, but few knew the full scope of it. We've built fake tanks made of rubber and wood, inflatable airplanes, fake radio chatter 24 hours a day. Churchill's eyes widened. The scale was incredible. German spy planes photograph our fake equipment every week. They report back to Hitler. He sees what we want him to see. But there was more, something even bigger. We've also turned every German spy in England, every single one. They're all working for us now. They send Hitler fake reports confirming our fake invasion plans. But would Hitler actually believe it? Hitler's mistake. Eisenhower pulled out German intelligence documents, captured reports, decoded messages. Hitler is convinced, completely convinced. He thinks Normandy is just a diversion. He believes the real invasion is still coming at Calais. This was the key to everything. Tomorrow morning, when our men hit the beaches at Normandy, Hitler will hesitate. He'll wait. He'll keep his panzer divisions back because he won't want to waste them on a diversion. Churchill began to understand. How long will he wait? At least 24 hours, maybe 48, maybe even longer. Eisenhower's voice grew stronger. And that's all we need. If we can survive the first day and establish a foothold, those tanks won't matter anymore. We'll have reinforcements pouring in. The math suddenly made sense. The invasion wasn't a suicide mission. It was calculated, precise, based on psychology and deception. So our success depends on Hitler's ego, on his belief that he's smarter than us. Exactly, sir, Eisenhower replied. We're betting everything on Hitler's arrogance, and I believe we'll win that bet. What actually happened? Dawn broke on June 6, 1944. D-Day began.
The landings were brutal, just as predicted. Men died by the thousands on beaches like Omaha and Utah. The waves were rough. The German defenses were deadly. But something else happened too. Hitler stayed asleep until noon. His staff refused to wake him. When he finally got the news, he didn't believe it. This is a diversion. The real invasion is coming at Calais. He refused to release his panzer divisions. He kept them back, waiting for an invasion that would never come. By the time Hitler realized his mistake, it was too late. The Allies had their foothold. Eisenhower was right. The lesson. The invasion wasn't won by bravery alone. It was won by deception, by understanding your enemy's mind, by making them see what you wanted them to see. That night in Churchill's war room, 3 generals made 3 predictions. One saw disaster. One saw costly victory. One saw the truth. D-Day succeeded because of all 3 perspectives, but mostly it succeeded because they fooled Hitler so completely that he'd defeated himself. The greatest invasion in history won by the greatest lie ever told. Churchill's D-Day quotes still inspire us today. His generals' pre-D-Day statements revealed true leadership under pressure. These D-Day 1944 military leadership quotes show how Eisenhower and Montgomery shaped history. Churchill on D-Day leadership and strategy taught us that wars are won in the mind first. Winston Churchill's World War II speeches before D-Day proved that words matter. But Churchill's generals' motivational quotes before invasion remind us courage without planning is just bravery. Strategy without deception is just hope. Together, they changed the world.